Hey guys, this is Shadself7 here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Robot Wars Metal Mayhem for Game Boy Color. As many of you all know, this game was based off the popular TV series Robot Wars. Back in the day, I couldn't get enough of Robot Wars, it was a great show. So when a game came out based off it, I just had to get it, and I would play it so much. So I have lots of nostalgia for this game, but judging the game from a more critical point of view, does it still hold up to this day? Well, let's find out. For the gameplay, if you're familiar with the TV series, two robots are pitted against each other in head-to-head combat, and one robot has to defeat the other one using their weapons. So I'll now explain all the game has to offer. The Robot Workshop lets you design your own robot by choosing the body, motor, drives and weapon. Aside from the body though, there really isn't much difference between the motors, drives and weapons, which kinda eliminates creativity, so that's a bit disappointing. The trials are a series of games for a robot. Skittles is where you have to knock down as many Skittles as you can in the fastest time. Sumo is where two robots are placed in a ring and one robot has to push the other one out of the ring. Slalom involves following a track and clearing gates of fire, whilst trying to avoid getting burnt. I like this as it adds risk rewarding whether you should wait for the fire to finish or sacrifice a bit of health for a better time. And Gauntlet is where you are given a choice of 3 hazard filled routes and you have to get from point A to point B. You can do the zigzag walls, go the narrow path, or just be a cheap asshole and do this. Grudge Match is the standard head-to-head battle with two robots. Firstly you select a robot, then select an enemy you've got to fight and the fight begins. When fighting, you can use the arena hazards to your advantage, such as flame grills, spikes, the Pit of Oblivion, and the 4 menacing house robots in the CPZs. It plays as a best out of 3 game, meaning you have to win 2 rounds to completely win. The final game mode is the War Zone, where you pick a robot, and then the game picks a robot at random, and you have to win 8 fights to win the War Zone. And I gotta say though, playing 8 matches can get repetitive after a while, so just a warning. Overall, the gameplay seemed to do whatever it could to replicate the show, but there are some flaws which I will later touch upon. For now though, let's move to graphics. As far as graphics go, I'm kinda mixed about this game. For Game Boy Color, the set pieces look pretty good, and the arena is loosely based around the show, but it all looks good. The robots look okay. Some of them are only about 2 colours, and the weapons do kind of look like free-framed animation, but they still look fine, with the exception of Crasher Nasher. On the robot select screen, look, he's blue, and his weapon is a circular saw. When fighting him, what the hell is this? Crasher Nasher is not purple, and his weapon is not a tail whip. That's just weird. But apart from that, and the odd flickering, the graphics aren't too bad. For music, well, this game doesn't have very many songs. In fact, I'm going to play this game's entire soundtrack throughout this review. But if they could have any songs though, at least they have the traditional Robot Wars theme, and it does sound really good. The other songs used aren't great, but they go kinda well with the robot action. As for the sound effects, well, the game is very lacking in sound effects. The only distinct sound effects are when the robot is being damaged. It is rather loud sound drowning over the music, and it often sounds like TV static. Aside from those sound effects, the music is okay. Not varied much, but at least they kept in the Robot Wars theme. Okay, now it's ranting time. So what are my main gripes with this game? Well, the one major problem the game suffers from is that the computer-controlled robots are absolute idiots. Seriously, you could easily trick them to go on the flame grill or spike, and half the time they just get themselves caught in the CPZ. I'm actually not joking. I didn't do anything for one fight, and my opponent just got himself killed. And with Sumo, it's even worse. Damn, that was so hard. Did they even test the AI here? As Series 4 was the latest series at the time, it baffles me why they themed this game after the Third Wars. It again leads me to believe that this game was behind the times, but the choice of robots was also questionable. Terminal Ferocity? Crasher Nasher? Dundee? There's some strange choices there. I remembered back then I was always disappointed that I couldn't play as Hypnodisc or Razor, and that disappointment still carries over today. The controls could often throw you off at times. You had to remember to stop every time before turning, otherwise if you tried to turn while holding forwards your robot would go crazy. But the nail that seals the coffin for me is there's no unlockables. Right from the get-go, once you turn on the game, you've pretty much already beaten it, so it all feels like a waste, no replay value at all. But now that's the end of my gripes. So overall, does Robot Wars Metal Mayhem still hold up to this day? As much as I would love to say yes, unfortunately the answer is no. The abysmal AI and the complete lack of replayability ruin what could have been a decent replication to the show. Sure, there are high scores for the trials, but that isn't enough to save this game from the sea of mediocrity. It goes without saying that the later Robot Wars games would be much better, and whilst Robot Wars fans might get a few minutes of enjoyment out of this game, I still can't recommend it, as it does wear out its fun after a while. There are some things that are best left in the past for a reason. And so, Tom's final score for this game, 4.6 out of 10.